Hello, my name is Tracy Adams. I'm an assistant director in the Office of Student Financial Assistance. I'm here today to share some information with you regarding applying for financial aid. First, I think it's important to define financial aid. There's a common misconception that financial aid consists of only scholarships and grants. However, financial aid consists of any funds provided to students and their families to help pay for college expenses. Grants, scholarships, work study, and loans are all types of financial aid. Applying for financial aid begins with the FAFSA. The FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. It is your application for grants, loans, work study, and even some scholarships. The FAFSA is completed online at studentaid.gov or on the My Student Aid mobile app. Before you sit down to complete the FAFSA, there are a couple of things that you should do to prepare. First, apply for an FSA ID. Creating your FSA ID before you begin the FAFSA form only takes a few minutes and could prevent processing delays. The FSA ID is your electronic signature for FAFSA purposes. It is also your login for federal student aid's online systems. The student, and most likely at least one parent, will need an FSA ID to complete the FAFSA. You are not authorized to create an FSA ID on behalf of someone else, so please be sure that you are each applying for your own. Applying for your own FSA ID also helps to prevent some common mistakes, such as using the wrong Social Security number or using someone else's email or phone number. This can make the forgot user ID and password process trickier should you forget them. Next, you'll want to gather some information. It's a good idea to have federal tax information, W-2s, Social Security cards, driver's license, records of untaxed income, as well as current asset information handy while you're completing the FAFSA. Okay, now that you're ready to file the FAFSA, I would like to provide you with some tips to help you along the way. Number one is apply early. The FAFSA form is available on October 1st for the next school year. The state of Indiana's filing deadline is April 15th. Although you may complete the FAFSA after April 15th, you will miss out on the opportunity for state grants and scholarships. Slow down. Read each question carefully and utilize the help features. Select the blue and white question mark icon next to the FAFSA question to view a tooltip that provides information about how to answer that question. In the online FAFSA form, the tooltip may also have a more help link for additional information. Of course, if you still have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to USI's Student Financial Assistance Office for help. If you can, use the IRS data retrieval tool. The IRS data retrieval tool allows students and parents who filed a US federal tax return to access the tax information needed to complete the FAFSA and to transfer the data directly into the application. This option simplifies the application process, helps to reduce errors, and lowers your chances of being selected to verify the information on your FAFSA. When completing the FAFSA, there are some common mistakes that you should avoid. Number one, double check your Social Security number before submitting. This is the most difficult FAFSA item to correct once it has been reported incorrectly, and it can continue to cause issues even once it's been resolved. Number two, the FAFSA form asks a series of questions that determine whether or not you are dependent or independent for FAFSA purposes. These questions often get answered incorrectly and can provide you with misinformation regarding your financial aid eligibility. Please be sure to review each question carefully. If you feel that you can answer yes to the question being asked, we recommend viewing the tooltip for more information before answering yes. And be prepared to provide documentation if requested. Number three, if you are a dependent student, you must report not only student information on your application, but also parent information. Another common FAFSA mistake is reporting the wrong parent information or misreporting parent marital status. If your parents are not married to one another, it may be confusing trying to determine which parent you should use for FAFSA purposes. So let me break it down. If your biological or adoptive parents are not married, but they reside in the same household, you will indicate that they are unmarried living together, and you will provide both parents information. If your biological or adoptive parents are not married and do not reside in the same household, you should use the parent you lived with the most during the 12 months prior to filing FAFSA. If you happen to live with both parents equally, then you will use the parent that provided you with the most financial support during the 12 months prior to filing FAFSA. If that parent is remarried at the time of filing FAFSA, your parent's marital status is married, remarried, and you will also provide step-parent information on the FAFSA. This can be complicated, so if you have questions, please feel free to contact us. Number 4, using information from the wrong year or time period. Pay close attention to the year, date, or time frame that each question is asking for. You will find that there are questions on the FAFSA that ask for information from a specific tax year, such as tax information, additional financial information, and untaxed income information. There are also some questions that ask for information as of a certain date, such as marital status and asset information. And then there are some questions that ask for information based on a certain time period, such as number in household and number in college. Number 5, skimming the additional financial information and untaxed income questions. I've witnessed this one firsthand many times. Take the time to read each question in its entirety. Not reading the entire question can result in misreporting or not reporting required information. For example, there's a question on FAFSA that asks for the total amount of taxable college grant and scholarship aid reported to the IRS as income. This question often gets misread as total college grant and scholarship aid, when it's only asking for the amount of grants and scholarships that you reported as income on your tax return. Number 6, under or over reporting asset information. For the asset questions, it is crucial to review the help features. They will specifically explain what gets included and what does not get included in assets for FAFSA purposes. For example, there's a question that asks about investments. The help features will explain that investments include real estate, but not the home you live in, rental property, trust funds, UGMA and UTMA accounts, money market funds, mutual funds, CDs, stocks, stock options, bonds, other securities, installment and land sale contracts, and commodities. Investments do not include the home you live in, the value of life insurance, and retirement plans, such as 401k plans, pension funds, annuities, non-education IRAs, and Keogh plans. Number 7, forgetting to submit the application. The FAFSA provides several opportunities to save so that you can come back and finish it later. This often gets confused for submitting. Saving the application is not the same as submitting it. Once you get to the end of the application, you will need to sign and submit it before it will be processed by the Department of Education. Okay, now you've completed the FAFSA, so what happens next? The Department of Education will send you a student aid report. The student aid report is typically sent out via email, and it's a summary of the FAFSA data that you submitted. Look it over carefully. Make sure you didn't make a mistake on your FAFSA form, and if you did, make corrections. If you've been admitted to USI, and USI was one of the colleges or universities that you listed on your FAFSA application, we will also receive this information. We will then package financial aid based on federal and state guidelines, and all new students to USI will receive an award notification letter in the mail. Award notification letters typically get sent out beginning in mid-January each year. This letter will list any institutional scholarships that the student was awarded through the admissions process, as well as estimated federal or state aid based on the FAFSA results that we received. Now, outside of FAFSA, it's important to research other financial assistance opportunities. High schools, community foundations, civic organizations, churches, and employers are all great resources to contact regarding scholarship opportunities. The Student Financial Assistance Office occasionally receives information regarding outside scholarship applications, and when we do, we post that information on our website. Life happens, and unfortunately, the FAFSA does not always capture a true picture of a family's circumstances. If your family has experienced a loss or reduction of income since the tax year reported on FAFSA, significant medical expenses paid out of pocket, separation, divorce, or even the death of a parent after filing FAFSA, please reach out to the Student Financial Assistance Office. There may be something that we can do to help. I would like to thank you for your time today. Please contact the Student Financial Assistance Office with any questions that you have about financial aid and the financial aid process. We look forward to getting to know you and your family better.